Good morning, or whatever time it is when you're seeing this. I'm Kelly Sheets, and I wanted to share something today that is always on my mind, pretty much. But the idea that everything I do comes from a state of curiosity, right? I don't know the things that are going to help you or anyone else that I'm working with. The way I see it is my job is to maintain a high level of curiosity so I can ask the questions that would actually contribute to someone's growth, because we already know inside what we need. Generally, we're just layering over those knowings, those senses of what we need, because we've been conditioned societally. And every culture has its own conditionings. And so we have certain ones, in the West that kind of limit us from just realizing that we already know the answers. So in my curiosity, this is just a review. I've said this before in my videos, but curiosity is a state of being. You can have a state of mind that is curious, and that is what most people use, is a state of mind, which means a mental questioning of things. And that's not actually a great sense of curiosity, because the mind likes to figure out what it already knows. The mind is not a creative being. The mental part of us is a great library. And what it does is it categorizes information and it sticks it in there and organizes it. So if you ask me a question and I only use my mental part of myself, all I'm going to do is I'm going to go to what is known. I don't really think and create outside of that. And that's just the way the mind works. So to be really curious, and I actually don't find it very interesting, and to kind of notice this, when people are mentally curious, it's almost exhausting because they're asking so many questions and they're like never getting to a state of fulfillment. They're just constantly asking out of a mental curiosity, and then they're cataloging, and that information generally just reaffirms that we know something, and which is fairly useless in the big picture of fulfillment. So a state of being that is curious is you feel, in a sense, wide open. There's not a judgment ready to happen. There's not a label you're going to put on it. You're not going to say, oh, this is good information, bad. Like, I don't like that. You're just going to stay open. And that is mentally, emotionally, physically. You feel your body soften and open. Your environment, you stay open to what's in it, and you let your energy move. When we're curious, your energy is just kind of flowing in your system. It's open to whatever's going to happen. It's not tense and defending against anything. It's just available. So starting from that place, one of the questions I wanted to share with you, and this is not something, again, if you know the answer right now, you've probably either examined this question historically from a state of curiosity and you've already done this, or you're just pulling from something either you've read or you heard or you've thought before. So don't try to answer this question right away. The question is, I'm going to plant it, and then you just go about your business and you just ponder it curiously and you feel what comes up. And then you stay within, you stay inside and you feel, and then you'll get, if you maintain a state of curiosity, the answers will start to arise. And you'll be like, yeah, that's what it is. So one of the big questions I think is really important, especially with people who have a lot of high achiever energy, where they're always wanting more, which is actually part of being curious. It's why, high achievers are, because they're curious. They want to know what else there is. They want to keep going. But that place of, what if you weren't afraid of getting things wrong? That's the question. What if you weren't afraid of getting it all wrong? And that sounds ridiculous in some way, but if you really sit with that question, you can actually identify how much energy you spend every day trying to get it right. And it's just part of the mind's job to do that. So it's part of being human. So it's not like this is bad, you need to get rid of this. But the awareness of how we are so self-focused into our mind, because we're trying to figure out, strategize, plan, organize, answer it correctly, do it the right way so we don't do it wrong, so we won't be rejected, so we won't be kicked out of the tribe, so we won't be poor and living under a bridge and ultimately die homeless and alone. Yeah, that could seem crazy, but the truth is when the mind is kind of a crazy place. So if you can really let yourself move through and start to ask, like, what would happen if I wasn't so afraid to get things wrong? Then what would I do with my energy? Then what would I do with my mind? Then what would I do with my actions? If I wasn't in judgment and fear that I was going to get it wrong. And I'm saying this because I've had this experience. I started to realize many years ago, God, so much of what I'm doing is self-reactive. It's based on fear. It's based on getting it wrong. So I don't actually give enough time for things to settle, to hear, to be present and respond. Because there's this back part of me that's afraid to get it all wrong. And then fear of all that would happen afterwards. So just the nature of observing that about myself changed what I was doing. I started being aware. So I'm going to put that question out to you, and that's all I'm going to do. What if you weren't afraid of getting it all wrong or getting anything wrong? Alter the question if you need. Okay, I hope there's something helpful in that today, and that kind of plants a seed for the next few days of ponderance.